space. Bank of Baroda has seen a big move. Pashupati Advani is joining us now. Pashupati, hi, good afternoon. What's happening
Anuj.
with banks? First, let's start with that. No matter what happens, bank stocks are just going up.
That's my concern, because I guess people are running away with loans, and so far the loans are getting serviced. So everybody's smiling. If there's any kind of a turn, then you'll see it. The RBI has done a positive step by attacking the NBFCs, and I think they're going to go through those. But then the NBFCs' bad loans will come on the banks eventually. But I think we're 6 months to a year ahead of that, and and I know better than anyone else that the market has a very short memory, and definitely not a one-year memory. So that's what it is. And the Nifty Bank has been the performer of the world markets, I think, in the last 2 to 3 weeks. Anuj?
Oh, absolutely. Top of the list. Although I think at par, maybe there's only one market, Indonesia, which has done perhaps a little better. But otherwise, pole position amongst very large markets. Pashupati, hi. Good afternoon.
Hi, Prashant.
So what have you been doing with your money? Where are you putting it? What are you buying? What have you been selling? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been basically looking at sectors that I think will succeed in this economy. Given that the government is going to be driving spending, I think that the infrastructure space is looking like a place to be. So, steel, cement, infrastructure companies. Again, the country is growing, so logistics is another space. I am not happy so much with IT, and I'm also not so happy with the banking sector. So I've been wrong on that, but I'm the first to admit it. And I just think that interest rates all over the world is going to make funds cost more, and I think that's got a long-term effect. So let's see what happens. I think, but as I said, the market's got an extremely short memory, and right now it's today for tomorrow, and it's 18,000 Nifty and 60,000 Sensex, which is causing a huge sort of exuberance in the retail investor. So ride that Ghoda, as they say.
Hi, Mr. Advani. Your call on cement is working pretty well. As you mentioned, it looks like you've missed out on banks, but cement has worked. At what stage do you get off?
Yeah.
And from here on, what do you do? Some of these smaller cap names that everyone was shunning away, suddenly it appears they're up for grabs. If they don't get taken, you could be stuck out there. So how do you view the space from here on? Stick to the larger cap names?
Well, I'll tell you, the mid caps have always been trading cheaper than the large caps in terms of value. And now that the big major multinational has walked away and Adani ji has taken the place, I think there'll be some mergers in the space. So I expect a couple of mid cap cement stocks to probably get a call saying, would you like to be bought out? And they'll probably get nice offers. So that'll probably be good for all of them. I haven't actually looked at which ones, because I think this will be a geographical play. And I think that, one has to do a little more analysis. But I think that anything that's trading cheaper than the valuation that Adani paid for the big stocks is definitely a potential merger candidate, maybe for stock of Holcim or Ambuja.
Pashupati, how are you looking at some of these stocks like, say, PVR? Because there's clearly been debacle after debacle on the box office. Finally, there's been at least one good sort of hit in Brahmastra, but there's been some block deals, etc. as well. But do you like this stock or anything else in this space?
I'll tell you the movie space. Just ask yourself, when's the last time you went to a movie hall? And whereas we used to go maybe once a week, we're now probably going once every 2 months. And that's obviously showing in the whole sector. The reality is that PVR has got a huge institutional holding and has to come down. So they've been lightening up. So that's definitely a reason which is putting pressure on PVR. And don't forget, the other thing is that the major driver for all these movie stocks was not so much the movies, but the extras, the food, the services. So all the stuff was actually driving because on the other hand, the exhibitors were getting less and less from the people who are actually making the movies. So that jagda has been going on. And now with OTT apps coming and OTT apps also beginning to pay, that sector has changed. And we're seeing it in the US, and I guess we'll see it here also, where a lot of people, like in America, Disney Plus, Hotstar, ESPN seems to be the masala that works, which is sports and entertainment, and a mixture. So I think that's probably what's going to come here, and the existing theater halls are probably not going to work. But they do have the advantage that in smaller tier 2 and tier 3 cities, there are independents who are up for grabs and are potentially trading quite cheap, and that's probably a niche opportunity for them to come in. So it's a changing space.
Oh,
not one I'm happy with.
Not one you're happy. Absolutely. I mean, that's the exhibition space, multiplexes, etc. Pashupati, what are your views on the entire home financing space? But before I come to you for a view there, listening to one particular company. This is Home First. It's a small, a mortgage finance company. There's been a lot of buzz that investors are looking to exit, this particular lender. Large private equity players. This is the management, Mr. Vishwanathan, Managing Director and CEO of the company, who's denying any such reports of the PE exiting the company. Listen in, and then I'll come to you on Home First and on the space as well.
We, of course, are not privy to or party to any such discussions. And, I don't think any of the investors are looking to exit the company completely. Of course, we are a listed company, so, there may be changes in shareholding, but, what the article implies that, certain, shareholders are planning to exit the company completely. We deny that entirely. We have True North and GIC, which the combined holding is about 33%. And we have Warburg Pincus, which holds about 29% in the company. And so amongst these four investors, we have True North and Aether, that is GIC. They are the promoters of the company, as classified in SEBI. So these two entities have a certain portion of their shares locked in. So 20% out of the 33 is locked in. So only the balance 13% is available at this point of time. So as per the SEBI norms, for listing, the 20% shareholding is locked in till February of 2024.
Pashupati, any thoughts on the space, not on the particular news here and the denial from the management, mortgage finance? And there are a bunch of these, not very many, but there are a bunch of these smaller mortgage financiers. The thing with mortgage finance is that default rates or slippages, etc., are it's a secure kind of a product. At least that's been the experience here in India. Any thoughts?
So actually, you need to turn the clock back. And, particularly with Warburg, they made a fortune in HDFC. I mean, like an absolute fortune. They were one of the early investors. They made tons and tons and tons of money. So, they said, okay, instead of HDFC, let's go to HFFC. So they moved and they put their investment into that. I think that sector is a bit challenged, because HDFC is no longer there as a buyer to sort of swallow up these small companies and just pick up the books. Like if you take an analogy of this with the US, you've got these small mortgage finance companies that package and sell to the big lenders. That's not happening here because HDFC effectively is out of the market till they do the merger, which I think will take another. I'm guessing it'll happen in the fourth quarter or maybe the first quarter of next year. So that's number one. Number two, you're hearing, like Indiabulls Finance has also quietened down, changed hands. And I think there's a lot of angst in the space when companies like this change hands, because I think they're finding a lot of things that they should not be finding. So I agree that it's a stable sector and it's supposed to have good quality loans, but I think that maybe some of these guys have overstepped their mark, and it's only due diligence that's going to actually prove. So again, going back to what you're asking, the number of buyers is much less, and the number of sellers, there's obviously a lot of small companies sitting around in the market. So there's there, and then the existing big players like LIC Home Finance and Canfin Homes and the other big ones. Those guys are sitting on the fence because I don't think they've actually done any acquisitions, and the driver for that has to come from much higher above, and maybe the government will make it happen. But for now, I think that whole sector is kind of quiet, but required. It's definitely a required sector as an infrastructure sector and as a driver for real estate.
Pashupati, the stock of the year has been ITC, and when the year started, it was all about the memes, but tables have turned. Almost 55% rally. What do you make of it, and what's your view here?
Well, everybody was making a gada out of it before, where they were saying, like this stock is staying between 200 and 220 or 230 and then back again. Suddenly they started showing good numbers. They're also showing some unlocking capability. It's a surprise to me, but they're actually talking about spinning off the hotels division and also going into what they call 6 bundles or 7 bundles, multi-layer approach, kind of like Maruti's done with cars. Taj and Oberoi have also done in the hotel space, where they've got multi-brands for different parts in the market. So that strategy is paying off. The hidden gem, of course, is the food business, which is growing quietly. But again, I personally don't see a point of unlocking the hotels business away from the main company, because the cigarette business actually is the driver in terms of cash. And okay, it is a little bit, the government could actually take some more excise out of it, but I think the government gets a lot of GST revenue from cigarettes. So I don't think there's much more to tax. So I actually am sort of against the spin-off, but it looks very likely that the hotel spin-off is going to happen.
Okay, all right, Mr. Advani, thanks so much for stopping by and filling us in with your thoughts. Look forward to chatting up with you rather soon.
Thanks, Nigel.
When we were having that chat, the Nifty, tried to pull back a little bit, but that as well has got sold into. So it appears at higher levels today, we are seeing some supply. We're back below that 17,900 odd mark. But now it's a tricky time. The expiry will play out. That's the weekly options expiry. So let's slip into short break. You come back, we'll get our technical guest with us. And we'll also get a check into dealing rooms in our special segment, D Street Chatter.